Hello, hello! Bl'Art here with Dare to Defy 4, the Blue Pulse Shinryu Redux. I said we were bringing Kam'lanaut and Machina here, by gum that's what we're doing. Got Penelo there to charge the gauge, we're going to be doing all sorts of FR gauge tomfoolery here. Before we get too deep into it, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring that notification bell, you know the drill, all that jazz. So, despite pulling Kam'lanaut and force enhancing Machina and ballooning Penelo and all that jazz, I haven't really used a whole lot of gauge charging, cam cheese shenanigans in Shinryu. It's a little bit one note for me, and so I figured I'll save it for special occasions, and that way when I do it, it won't be just kind of a boring chore. It's funny, when Machina first dropped, I found him really fun to use, setting up that super big burst phase. But, I don't know, for some reason doing that here isn't quite as fun for me. Luckily, I find kind of more regular teams a bit more engaging, so we're doing okay. But I will say with this fight, at least the amount of hit points that it has, it's not just like, okay, do one burst phase and you've won the fight. It gets you darn close, though. So, we got that Kam'lanaut bot burst out of the way. We're almost charged up. I know. I think the convention now is just to speed through the Penelo charging whenever possible, because it's pretty uninteresting to watch. But I figure, what the heck? I already use videos at double speed. It's only 7 minutes long at this point, I think, after doubling it. So hopefully it's not taking up too much of your day, and you can afford to watch her spin in place for a little while. There we go, okay. So now we're just about ready. It is kind of funny, this is, in a couple months we'll be having these elemental lockouts, which will actually prevent Kam'lanaut from doing any brave damage, and would also mean we'd be doing no brave damage at all if we did what we just did, enchanting the party with ice. As luck would have it, we're not quite at that point yet, and so we're able to go ahead and I think they take reduced brave damage, or no, well not yet, they will take reduced brave damage from ice once their gauge gets up to that next tick mark. As luck would have it, it's not there yet, so we can just go ahead and take advantage of that real quick using the Sid Rain's call on Machina. I mean, at this point, you're familiar with the cam cheese, I'm sure. There's no way this is the first time you're seeing Kam'lanaut and Machina used in a Shinryu run. But for those of you who are not sure how the interaction works, Kam'lanaut has a goofy little thing with his FR where the conditional to attack a paralyzed enemy in order to get HP boost, muscle memory there, 0 HP damage from Penelo, it actually triggers on everyone involved in a launch, which is not intended, but is hilariously borked because you're getting plus 80 every turn if you've enchanted the party with ice. So that's cool. We're just going to be chewing through them now with the Machina burst phase. There we go. Since we don't have a Kais call or anything, Penelo is going to be having to do some brave attacks in there, which is, it's not going to be the most impressive burst phase. There are better partners we could have brought in order to really have a killer phase here. Something like Kane, Freya, Cisne, something like that. But we just wanted to charge that gauge, and since it's Dare to Defy, no friend unit, Penelo's cool just sitting there providing that sweet 20% HP cap from her blue armor. Final Fantasy 12 guy over here. Yeah. There are a few units like Penelo who I kind of wish I had more chance to use in Shinryu so far, but they just haven't really slotted it into teams that made sense. That's kind of the thing I think about the FR era, is team building's a bit more prescriptive, I think. You can make certain characters, there's certain characters who naturally slot into most teams, or Auron and Galuf, for instance, do basically really well on most FR teams because off-turn damage is so good. But there are other characters like Penelo or Pain, who just came out, where they're kind of more generalist in their use, and so you can put them on the team. They just, unless you're doing a gauge charging thing like I'm doing here, they're not going to provide as much intrinsic value, I think, which is kind of a shame. But, I think every character like has their strengths and weaknesses in a given era, depending on how the mechanics of that era work. In Lufania, a character who took a zillion turns without necessarily ticking the orb could be a liability, I guess, or something. Yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way about that. You can let me know in the comments down below if you feel like if you feel that there are certain characters who are just not as attractive as they have been in previous years because FRs are so specific. Not to say team building is more restrictive, mind you. It's not that you need a single team to beat a given fight. It's more of the optimization of teams is a lot easier to pull off because of FRs, and as a result, there's less incentive to kind of vary your team up once you have kind of an FR strategy worked out. There we go. We have once again charged up the FR. Actually, you'll notice I went to summon to do that even, because in order to get rid of that the 50% wind damage aura that they get, I just popped a Pandemonium summon and that did the trick. Pretty cool. Now we have the second FR going, and Machina's not going to get me too many turns because you know how his burst works, but that's okay. We've delayed them to heck with Kam'lanaut. We've broken them, we've speed downed them with Machina and Versame, and so we're cool with just chopping them down. Their FR gauge is frozen below 80%, so they're taking a respectable amount of brave damage given the situation. Trying not to take up too many FR turns with Penelo. See what I mean? I think most people just kind of swap her out for a friend unit in a conventional team. And it could be nothing. It does feel like certain kind of generalist characters are less useful in this era, just because you're more rewarded for building kind of specifics. Then again, maybe as we get some more mechanic and complex fights, such as Odin, that'll change. But anyway, I'll be curious to hear what you think if you want to comment on that down below. Thank you for watching. I know this was a little stompier than some of my more recent runs. Anyway, but I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.